On the WNTK Newsline, I have Christine Walker. She's the Executive Director of the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission. That is a mouthful, Christine.
Sorry.
It's not your fault.
I didn't create the name.
Yeah, so Christine, the reason why we wanted to have you on was to talk about the Upper Valley. I'm just going to say the Planning Commission for our area. How's that?
Yep, that's good.
And the reason why was because, as we go through what you guys do, and I will be posting a link to your website on our Facebook page, you guys are involved in a lot in our area, and I don't think people really have an idea of what you do. And that's why we want to have you on, to give an opportunity for you to tell us what the UVLS Regional Planning Commission does.
Well, thank you, and I really appreciate your time and having us on the program. I appreciate that. Well, I just sort of real briefly, we do a lot of assistance to the municipalities within the region. We can kind of get into exactly how we exist and all of that if you want to in a minute, but basically we provide services to the municipalities within the 27 community region, from Piermont along the Connecticut River down to Charlestown, and then over to Wilmot and Washington. So there's 27 communities within the region, and we do anything from helping them actually run their planning board meetings so that they're aware of things like RSA 91A, which is our right to know law, how to conduct meetings, so that level of detail, all the way up to we're just in the process now of submitting to the Department of Transportation the recommendations from the Transportation Advisory Committee for the projects that should be listed on the 10-year plan, which is a very big process. So it really, has a whole range of significance as far as like really detailed stuff and larger scale assistance to municipalities with the bigger regional issues.
Now, with that all being said, so it's essentially a way, and we had talked earlier about this, it's essentially the Planning Commission is a way for the local communities to pool their resources to better plan, because every town's got a planning and zoning commission and comes up with a plan for growth or retraction in some cases. And so the idea is to pool all these resources so that there's a go-to person or agency to help them with multifaceted ways to get these programs done.
Right, and we step in a lot of times, like we are available to municipalities when they have a shortage of staff. So in the case of both Enfield and the city of Claremont, we've been working as their staff now for, off and on for about 4 years, actually in the office. So we are able to step in when there are shortages that way. So that really helps communities out. And it also helps some communities out that don't really need full-time assistance. They certainly, we work in the towns of Orford, Wilmot, Springfield, Newberry. They really don't need a full-time planner, in the town of Orford. But we can maybe 10 hours a month be able to assist their planning board. So, and then you have that sort of level of expertise, and within the office we have a lot of knowledge sharing. So if something comes up, like a big topic right now is staying on top of what's happening with wind energy, and so staff can kind of be able to provide some information about where the planning boards actually have or do not have authority. There's a lot going on the Connecticut River with the relicensing of the Connecticut River dams, and so that FERC relicensing process is really cumbersome for municipalities to understand, so we could make sure that we are able to get that information so that not every single community needs to provide the staff to have the knowledge base on all those subjects all the time. On the
WNTK Newsline is Christine Walker. She's the Executive Director of the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission. One word you used there that I think there's some confusion with people in the area, with citizens in the area, is that word authority. And that's something you and I have talked about, is with the Planning Commission, do you have any authority when you talk about some of the things? And you guys, I'm looking at your website now, and projects, there's transportation, emergency management, natural resources, it goes on and on and on. What kind of authority, if any, does the Planning Commission wield on some of these projects?
Well, let me tell you that the Regional Planning Commission, we've actually been around for 50 years now. In 1963, we were established as an economic development organization. And then so in 1969, the state actually gave authority to the municipalities to create regional planning commissions. People may or may not be familiar with things like home rule and Dillon rule and all that, but New Hampshire is a Dillon rule state, which means that the municipalities only have the authority that they're given. And in 1969, they were given the authority to create the regional plan, the regional commission. So we only exist because the municipalities choose to create us. And we are advisory. What we do is we provide information to the municipality, and it's ultimately always their decision. We have no regulatory power. We have no ability to, there's no regional zoning in New Hampshire. There's no county zoning. There's no oversight as far as that goes. What we do for some municipalities, if the planning board themselves decides that they would like to get the advice of the Regional Planning Commission on specific applications, they can decide to deem that a project of regional significance, and they can send it to the Regional Planning Commission, and we might say, have you considered this, or have you looked at it from this perspective, or if you've got, if you're looking at trying to conserve land in a certain area of your community, are you aware that the community next to you is actually looking at that as a place for future development? So kind of bring those regional issues to their attention and let them know. Now, when we send that back to the municipality, they can do whatever they want with it. They have no obligation to take those recommendations or advice, but it provides them with one more way to look at things. And a lot of times, quite frankly, planning boards, they have a huge role, and it can be a precarious place for a planning board person who is a volunteer to really understand all of the mechanics of site plan review and all of that. So if a developer comes in and says, this is going to do this, and here's the traffic information and everything else, they can say, is that true? I don't know if you've ever seen the little the rubber hoses across the road.
Yeah.
Well, that's us out there doing traffic counts on behalf of the DOT. So we have like those kind of numbers, and we can say, the developer's absolutely right. This is a traffic count on that road. But it gives the planning board one place to look, other than to just get that information from the developer. So, and like I said, they can use that advice to their own benefit. There's no statutory or any sort of regulations within the state of New Hampshire for them to, take our advice and use it.
Now, Christine, with that being said, it looks like about 3 minutes left. One of the issues that comes up with any type of planning board is that sometimes people, to be honest, not everybody is dialed into what the city or the town is doing. And, how do people get involved? The average person listening who says, I want to have input into this project or that project that my town has taken in. Is that encouraged by the commission for citizens to be involved at the citizen level?
Oh, my goodness, yes. Oh, absolutely. I think the more people that are involved, the better. And one thing that I find, because I come from far north from here, I actually live in Warner now, but in the region that I work, even Claremont, Newport, there is a significant amount of public input and people participating in civic processes. So I find that hugely encouraging. It's really helpful. It's really helpful to hear what people think. In fact, I was just talking with one of your counterparts, Gail Hedrington, at the City of Claremont the city council meeting last night, and it was really encouraging, the whole process that the city went through to look at the city center and the ordinances and everything was very well received, because it was driven by the people in the community, and people participated in it, and because of that, they're looking at new ordinances that have been changed in order to really help developers and new businesses come to Claremont. In order to, they've relaxed a lot of the restrictions. They're trying to really encourage new businesses. They've gone from 12 to 6 different zones within the city center. And looking at less parking needed, and that sort of thing. And that was successful because there was citizen participation.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I want to put out there. As I peruse your website is vast, and it's all there. I mean, you've got all the projects and everything, and the commissioners. There's all kinds of information, and it does lend to the belief that you want to be open and let people know what's happening. Christine, unfortunately, I'm at the bottom, but what I'd like to do, I'm going to be reaching out to you again, and then let's talk about some of the specific projects that are going on that affect people in the Dartmouth-Sunapee region. So
that would be really great.
I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christine. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
That's Christine Walker from the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission. This is a very important thing for our area. You want to get on their website. I'm going to link to it on our Facebook page. There's so much information. And when people talk about all kinds of programs that are going on, with whether it's the new development that they're talking about, that commercial development over in Lebanon off of 12A at the Rock Quarry, or it's a culvert for a runoff that might be on somebody's land use issues, these are all important. It's all right there on their website. We'll be reaching out to Christine again to get her to come back on, and maybe some of the commissioners, and talk about what they do. WNTK News Time 726.